Morning, Mayor.
Sorry, I'm a day late, Joe. Good morning.
As long as you're not a dollar short.
That's true. I'm short, but not a dollar short, thank God.
I can relate to that. How are you?
I'm doing well. Doing well, thank you.
Good, good. Thanks for calling in. I drove over the General's Bridge yesterday morning on the way into work.
And?
It's
How was your experience?
it's first of all, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Aesthetically, it's very nicely constructed with those giant stars. It gives you kind of a feeling of importance driving over it.
Sure.
But I really get it now. I get the connection because I took it right through to the new parking garage at Kilroy Square, and I said, "Oh,
Okay.
this is how this works." So I can
Yes,
see.
and as you're coming over the bridge, on the left-hand side is the development parcel for Fox Rock, which is going to be the medical office and life science biotech. And to the right will be further commercial buildings with a parking garage. And if you're still sitting on the bridge in the middle of it in your car facing Kilroy, to your left, those block of buildings, remember those are coming down with the ones going up. To the right, the corner of the old Messina lot, there'll be a large building and performing arts center. So, people say to me, "What's all this for?"
Hmm.
You can't have the new development, the new investment, the private investment in hundreds of millions of dollars with new jobs. You can't have that without laying the groundwork. So the bridge is part of the groundwork. Now, albeit that we didn't want to settle for typical MassDOT bridge, and in our discussions with the governor, he made sure that it was aesthetically pleasing, but also honored the generals of the military that we have in that with the bridge and the park next door. So it is coming together, and then the intersection piece at the corner of the new McConville and Hannon, which we got that mass grants for. I know we talked about it
Yep.
in the past, but that will be another piece. So it'll move that intersection away from where the IHOP is, further east to the intersection of McConville, which will help free up a lot of queuing coming off of Bergen, coming into Quincy. So it's part of a master plan for that whole area. You can't do it all at once. You just can't.
Hmm.
Can't afford to do it all at once, and you physically you can't do it all at once. So pieces by piece, it's really coming together nicely.
Yeah, I noticed too that there is a bicycle lane on the new bridge as well, so that's been taken into account certainly, and looks like a nice sidewalk too.
Yes, indeed. I mean, we go by that was built by the state, so it's MassDOT standards,
Hmm.
which includes those uses. The sidewalk, if you're coming from the square heading towards Bergen, you have to take the right.
Right.
There is just not enough room on the left when that was built, Bergen, right up against the tracks. Just as along the rest of Bergen, the sidewalk is on the opposite side. So, but no, it's another great piece, as they say, to putting together all those pieces in the downtown. And I'm grateful to the governor and certainly to our legislative delegation who support the appropriations for such projects. And that just doesn't happen. These things take a lot of work, a lot of planning, and a lot of effort from a lot of folks. So
Yeah.
I appreciate everybody working on it.
Quite an engineering feat too, because they built it without having to shut down the T.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Which is a good thing. The T's had enough problems without having to shut it down for a bridge.
Yes. So, speaking of transportation, I understand you'll be attending a meeting of the MassDOT board today.
Yes, as you know, Joe, I was appointed to the MBTA board of directors by the advisory board,
Mhm.
which I chaired for about 10 years. And in addition to that, two of those members also serve on the MassDOT board. And the governor asked me if I would serve as one of those members to the MassDOT board, and of course I said yes. It's interesting stuff. It's important work that we're doing, particularly T stuff because of the such spotlight on the T over the last several years because of the needs, that it has infrastructure-wise and systematically had a lot of challenges. So we're chipping away at it, making good some progress. I think the general manager, Steve Potek's, doing an excellent job. It's an old agency with a lot of old habits that it's tough to move into the new age, if you will. And but a lot of good people there, and we're making progress. And again, I give the governor a lot of credit because he grabbed the bull by the horns on this. The T is a separate state authority where he really could have just said, "Yeah, that's a separate authority. It's not anything to do with it." But through his leadership, the Red Line has had huge improvements, and the next phase will be waiting for the cars, of course.
Any word on progress on the Quincy Center Station at all?
Yes, well, we're working now with in fact a phone call the other day with the general manager discussing the layout of the new Quincy Center Station, which is a goal. I had lunch before the cutting of the ribbon last week with Governor Baker to talk about those issues, along with our other challenges and issues that we have that he might be able to assist us with both some funding and some support. So the pieces are coming together, and as I've said on many occasions with you, Joe, things just don't work fast enough for me. It gets frustrating sometimes, but the process is the process, and we're well into the process. Let me put it that way.
Sure. Can we talk a little bit about COVID, Mayor?
Do we have to?
Well, yeah. Unfortunately, and I know everybody feels that way. But actually, there are some glimmers of hope. Case numbers are coming down, and positivity rate is coming down. And I know the schools are kind of opting to switch into a new program of testing at home rather than in school. Is Quincy going to participate in that?
Yes, we are. We talked to the superintendent about it. Actually, the governor and I talked about it at lunch last week as well when he introduced me to it, and asked if this city system would be interested. And I said, absolutely. We've worked pretty well with DC over the last couple of years over all these challenges and crazy times we're living in, and why wouldn't we? So the schools have been working extremely hard, particularly on the testing. The nurses' offices have been pretty jammed, and nurses trying to keep up with it all. But it's gone well. The pool testing and has been a great tool. This will be a great tool and probably make things more efficient. I know we had a lot of kids that were, coming into school that were sick. And the whole point was for the parents to have them tested. Well, they're coming into the school sick, and that doesn't help, So
right.
some of this new way of doing it would eliminate a lot of those issues. So I think it's a good thing. And overall, I've been doing a lot of reading, and folks from Mass General, particularly, and the feeling is that we've just about peaked, and this thing is going to plummet quickly, just as it does or has done in a number of countries around the world. So I think that's a good thing, and hopefully, by springtime, we talk about spring being a time of new beginnings, that we really will have some new beginnings and get this thing behind us. So, but I appreciate all the effort from everybody. This has been a long, long haul.
Yeah.
You think of the medical community and doctors and nurses and aides and all those that assist people, that particularly those who get very sick in hospitals. You think of the Mannett Community Health Center, which was just tremendous to us, getting the vaccines out, getting the boosters out, doing all the testing. You think of the school system and all the challenges with them, the principals and leadership, superintendent, his team, the teachers, the nurses, everybody. Just everyone was chipping in to try to keep things moving for the benefit of the kids. So it's been a yeoman's task to keep things going in the school system, and certainly grateful for everyone doing their part.
Will the Mannett program at 180 Old Colony Avenue have to relocate?
It will pretty soon.
Okay.
I'm still waiting for the date of demo, which will be the interior demolition of that building, so we can begin the process of building out the new, DeChristopher Farrar Learning Center, which is going to be a tremendous help to our city.
Mayor, have you had any word on when the federal pandemic relief money might be coming into the city?
Well, we've had we've had some of that money come in. It's the infrastructure now that we're still waiting on the final rules and regs.
Okay.
So the last major piece of legislation was the infrastructure bill, and that piece has a lot of pieces to it. I mean, it's not like the other ones where they're basically a formula, and the city would be getting a check. This is at least initially looks like it's very competitive. We have to have projects ready to go. It's competitive grant writing. So we get up for that, but I'm sure there'll be 10 changes in the rules and regs over the next 6 months. That's what happened before.
Yeah.
And I think as Congress goes in for re-election next year or this year, and if they don't see the money get on the street quick enough, you can bet that there'll be more changes. So, we're on it, and we've got a number of infrastructure projects we want to see addressed. Pipes and roads and our own bridges, and plenty to work with for that money. So we're monitoring it closely. We've got people specifically tasked just on that. They've read the legislation 10 times. They're making contact with the federal agencies. They're basically in line. So when the bell goes off or the door gets unlocked to the building, then we'll be right in the line.
Yep. Will some of that be available, do you think, for affordable housing?
You know, I haven't heard that mentioned at all.
Okay.
I don't know. My guess is no. It's more of an infrastructure than the social service side of things. So my guess is it's pipes, it's roads, it's bridges, it's seawalls. Perhaps it's also some vertical construction. I'm hopeful that maybe a parking garage would be funded with some of that as well in the downtown. So we'll see. I mean, again, the Department of Treasury comes out with the rules and regs, and I know there's a lot of hands in that. But this was it's a major piece of legislation, and there's the devil's always in the details.
Right. Very good. Anything else we should let folks know about right now? I know, unfortunately, Lunar New Year is having to go virtual this year.
Yeah, that's too bad, but I get it. It's we got to get through this next few weeks, and as we said, I think then things will start to improve. But yeah, we certainly appreciate the efforts by Quincy Asian Resources. They do a great job with the Lunar New Year. It's an opportunity that usually to bring people together and raise some money for all the good work they do in our community. So we certainly will miss the in-person program that's usually held usually at North Quincy High with all the programming, but nonetheless, they're moving forward virtually, and we do want to celebrate. We have a major Asian population in our city, and we should celebrate this wonderful cultural time of the year for them and for us, and that's the Lunar New Year. It's a huge celebration in that community, so I think it's become a very big celebration in our own community, and I think folks from all walks of life now enjoy it. That's the beauty of diversity and multicultural in our city, our community, that we can enjoy one another's traditions, and which I think is just awesome.
Yeah. Appreciate it, Mayor. Always good to talk to you.
Thanks, thanks. Appreciate Joe. Sorry about the day late, but we'll get through it.
Not at all. We're very flexible here. We'll be happy to talk to you anytime.
All right. Take care now.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Quincy Mayor Thomas Koch, our weekly City Hall update here on AM Quincy.